And our top focus this morning is on the stalemate over the farm laws, and this will be the Prime Minister's biggest outreach so far. He'll be addressing farmers from 6 states at 12 p.m. in a bid to quell the apprehensions regarding the agricultural reforms. Nearly 2 crore farmers have registered themselves for this mega outreach event by the centre. During the event, Prime Minister Modi will also enable the transfer of more than 18,000 crore rupees to over 9 crore farmer families directly into their accounts under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Yojana. Amid raging farm protests at Delhi's border, so far Prime Minister Modi has maintained in his outreach that the farm laws will benefit farmers and will only give them legal protection while freeing them from middlemen. And let's listen in to exactly what the Prime Minister has had to say in the last many weeks when he's assured and reassured farmers on the farm laws and also slammed the opposition, saying they're fear-mongering.
स्वामीनाथन कमेटी की रिपोर्ट को लागू करने का काम हमारी ही सरकार ने किया। अगर हमें एमएसपी हटानी होती तो स्वामीनाथन कमेटी की रिपोर्ट लागू ही क्यों करते भाई? अगर कानून लागू होने के बाद भी एमएसपी की घोषणा हुई, एमएसपी पर सरकारी खरीदी हुई, उन्हीं मंडियों में हुई, तो क्या कोई समझदार इस बात को स्वीकार करेगा कि एमएसपी बंद हो जाएगी? और इसलिए मैं कहता हूं, इससे बड़ा कोई झूठ नहीं हो सकता। और इसलिए मैं देश के प्रत्येक किसान को ये विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि पहले जैसे एमएसपी दी जाती थी, वैसे ही दी जाती रहेगी। नए कानून के बाद 6 महीने हो गए, कानून लागू हो गया। हिंदुस्तान के किसी कोने में कहीं पर भी एक भी मंडी बंद नहीं हुई है। फिर क्यों झूठ फैलाया जा रहा है? सच्चाई तो यह है कि हमारी सरकार एपीएमसी को आधुनिक बनाने पर, उनके कंप्यूटरीकरण पर 500 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा खर्च कर रही है। फिर ये एपीएमसी बंद किए जाने की बात कहां से आई? बिना सैर पैर बस झूठ फैलाओ, बार बार बोलो। सरकार के इन प्रयासों के बाद भी अगर किसी को कोई आशंका है तो हम सर झुकाकर किसान भाइयों के सामने हाथ जोड़कर बहुत ही विनम्रता के साथ देश के किसान के हित में उनकी चिंता का निराकरण करने के लिए हर मुद्दे पर बात करने के लिए तैयार हैं। देश का किसान, देश के किसानों का हित हमारे लिए सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकताओं में से एक है।
हाल में हुए कृषि सुधारों की मांग बरसों से की जा रही थी। अनेक किसान संगठन भी पहले ही मांग करते थे कि अनाज को कहीं पर भी बेचने का विकल्प दिया जाए। आज जो लोग विपक्ष में बैठकर किसानों को भ्रमित कर रहे हैं, वो भी अपनी सरकार के समय इन कृषि सुधारों के समर्थन में थे, लेकिन अपनी सरकार के रहते वो निर्णय नहीं ले पाए, किसानों को झूठे दिलासे देते रहे। आज जब देश ने यह ऐतिहासिक कदम उठा लिया तो यही लोग किसानों को भ्रमित करने में जुट गए हैं।
And amid the ongoing farmer stir, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi decided to march to the President's house and submit a memorandum signed, he claims, by 2 crore farmers. His march was halted as his sister Priyanka Gandhi was also detained. Rahul and 3 other Congress leaders then were given permission to meet with the President. But this was enough for the Congress MP to declare that there is no democracy in India. The BJP was quick to hit back, accusing Rahul of piggybacking on the farmer protest.
A showdown between the Congress and the Narendra Modi government over farm laws, right in the heart of the national capital. The Gandhi sign hits the streets in solidarity with farmers. But the march was cut short and Delhi police detained many, including Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, briefly.
किसानों को कोई बरगला नहीं सकता, बहुत समझ है उनमें, बहुत विवेक है। अगर आज वे बॉर्डर पे बैठे हैं 1 महीने से इस ठंड में तमाम संघर्ष को झेल कर, तो ये जाहिर है कि उनको दुख है।
In this bus you can see that the Congress party, in fact, all the leaders being detained by the Delhi police are heading to perhaps the Tughlaq Road police station, but they have been detained outside 10 Janpat, and you can see various MPs, senior leaders of the Congress party joining the bandwagon with Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi.
Amid all the high drama unfolding, Rahul Gandhi met the president along with 2 senior party leaders. He vented his anger at the centre with a stinging charge that there is no democracy in the country.
This is an assault on the idea of India. That is why we are standing here. That is why I have gone to the president. That is why we signed these forms. India में कोई democracy नहीं है. Joint session कीजिए और कानून को एकदम वापस लीजिए, क्योंकि किसान वापस नहीं जाने वाला है.
The BJP was quick to hit back at the former Congress president.
राहुल गांधी जो कुछ बोलते हैं उसको कांग्रेस भी गंभीरता से नहीं लेती. देश का तो सवाल ही नहीं उठता है.
शायद वो इतिहास नहीं पढ़े हैं. भारत के इतिहास में काले अक्षर में 1974 का इमरजेंसी है. राहुल गांधी को पढ़ लेना चाहिए.
Even as the NDA government and the Congress locked horns over the newly minted farm bills, the farmers who have laid siege to Delhi made it clear their protest remains apolitical.
Critics may say the Congress party is on the ropes, rattled by a string of electoral losses. But that didn't stop Gandhi brother-sister duo from staging a massive show of strength in the heart of national capital to show solidarity with the agitating farmers. With camera person Nasir Khan and Maushmi Singh, this is Anand Patel in New Delhi for India Today.
The farmers' protest officially enters day 30 today, and it's clear that the protesters are in no mood to relent. The farmers seem to be preparing again for the long haul at Delhi's borders after 6 rounds of talks with the centre have ended inconclusively. Farmers are adamant on their demand to roll back the 3 new farm laws, while the centre says it's ready for talks but will not be okay to roll back the laws. As the deadlock continues, Singhu, Ghazipur, Tikri border areas continue to remain the flashpoint for these farm protests. More farmers, meanwhile, are likely to join the stir from remote areas of Punjab. They are expected to bring with them food supplies as well as warm clothes. In addition to that, 500 more farmers are on their way to Delhi's borders to join the stir. China was also a rural economy, just like India not so long ago. China also brought in farm reforms and implemented it essentially in phases with pilot projects. And questions loom on whether there's a lesson there for India as well.
Pepped up, high-tech.
These drones are very effective if large-scale plant diseases and insect plagues happen, which is the reason why they have been widely used in China in recent years, especially since 2017.
Swanky. China's radical makeover of its agriculture came about in 40 years. Large swaths of the mainland were desolate before.
Farmers extracted salt from the soil instead. That is how people made a living. The farmland size is 3000 mu in our village. But only 1000 mu can be used for planting crops.
A stiff resistance to farm reforms in a democratic India. Operating in distress, farmers are suspicious of free market. But the neighboring China took a different approach when it opened the agriculture sector back in 1978. A starting point of its economic reforms, unlike India, which focused on liberalizing manufacturing first. Different policy, different results in terms of growth and poverty reduction. According to this study carried out in 2008, China's reforms were comprehensive. They were introduced via small experiments rather than large-scale implementations. A learning by doing approach. The successes from the pilot projects were used as templates that were applied nationwide gradually.
Imagine if India had done its agricultural reforms before 1991. Indian farmers' incomes today would be double or triple than it is today. China does not need to depend on MSP, APMCs, Artiyas. The Chinese farmers are free and they are flourishing.
At the same time, China accelerated its electrification program, another booster dose for its farm sector 4 decades ago. Unlike China, India continues with state-backed food procurement and distribution policies, with excessive regulations on private trading. Research shows China's higher efficiency and diversity in its practices is that farmers are incentivized to grow different crops based on the type of land and season involved. The production gap with India has widened over 60 years.
The reason in the case of China is that China has done precisely the sort of reforms that India has now enacted recently. A Chinese farmer has the freedom to sell to a consumer. He can sell to Walmart.
The Asian giant is gearing up for the next level, improving infrastructure and public services in rural areas and strengthening the weak links.
One is to form our modern urbanization, metropolitan area and urban belt. Other is to drive a new rural system built on the modern rural production system and social service system. Such an interaction can bring China's resource allocation efficiency to a new level.
A centralized reform in phases and production-linked incentives are perhaps the way forward to overhaul India's agriculture sector successfully. With Sai Kiran Kannan, Bureau Report, India Today.
Over to some international news. The Brexit deal is finally done. The United Kingdom and the European Union have reached a post-Brexit trade agreement after months of lengthy negotiations. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson claimed it was a good deal for the whole of Europe. The UK is set to exit EU trading rules next Thursday. That's a year after officially leaving the 27-nation bloc. Britain formally left the EU in January after a deeply divisive referendum in 2016. It will mean big changes for business, with the UK and the European Union forming two separate markets and the end of free movement. UK stock markets have closed for the Christmas break in an upbeat mood. A no-deal scenario would have been disastrous, affecting not only the UK but also other European nations. The trade deal also comes as a big relief for many British businesses already reeling from the impact of coronavirus, who feared also disruption at the borders and the imposition of tariffs or taxes on imports.
We've taken back control of our laws and our destiny. We've taken back control of every jot and tittle of our regulation in a way that is complete and unfettered. From January the 1st, we are outside the customs union and outside the single market. British laws will be made solely by the British Parliament, interpreted by UK judges sitting in UK courts, and the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice will come to an end.
Just a week after the United Kingdom reported a new strain of the coronavirus, a second, even more contagious mutation has been reported. This is linked to South Africa. The strain has prompted Britain to impose even stricter curbs. The good news, though, is that vaccine rollout has begun in the UK. Experts say that its efficacy will not be affected by the mutation of the virus.
We must, I'm afraid, look again at Christmas.
This Christmas, there is little cheer for the British after a new, more infectious strain of the coronavirus was identified. This new variant, detected in South Africa, is even more transmissible than the one discovered in southeast England a few weeks ago. The UK has banned all direct flights from South Africa. The government had already imposed a new round of restrictions throughout the nation after the London strain was detected.
Not cheerful about it, but it'd be easier to get on with it. Whereas now, because everyone's made plans and because it's this close to Christmas, and then we're being told it's being cancelled, I think that's made it a lot more difficult.
I think they're quite brutal, but I think it's to be expected. I think it's what's needed. I'm not entirely sure I agree with what's been done so far. It's going to be difficult, especially over the Christmas period, but I think it's necessary.
The vaccine rollout that has begun in England is the only glimmer of hope for the country that has registered more than 2 million COVID cases. The UK has approved the vaccine developed by Pfizer. Health officials and experts say that the efficacy of the vaccines will not be affected by the new strains identified.
So the new variant in the UK, which we've identified, is very different to the variant in South Africa. It's got different mutations. Both of them look like they're more transmissible. So we have no evidence at the moment that the vaccine will not work. So actually what that means, in fact, is that there's strong evidence that it will work, because the vaccine produces a strong immune response and it's broad and it acts against lots of variation in the virus.
The detection of new strains has sparked global fears. India too has banned flights from the UK. Many states have imposed restrictions. Maharashtra, Punjab and Rajasthan have announced night curfews in cities. Other states like Tamil Nadu, Odisha and Uttarakhand have announced restrictions on public celebrations. Bureau Report, India Today.
Former India fast bowler Chetan Sharma will be the new chairman of the senior men's selection committee. He will be joined by 2 more fast bowlers in the panel. The Cricket Advisory Committee interviewed 11 shortlisted candidates before they recommended 3 names, including Chetan Sharma as the new chief. Abhay Kuruvilla and Debashish Mohanty were the other 2 members who will join the senior selection committee. The 3 will join Sunil Joshi and Harvinder Singh in the selection committee, as another former paceman, Ajit Agarkar, who was also interviewed on Thursday, was overlooked for the job. Now, in another development on the day, the BCCI has decided to add 2 new teams in the Indian Premier League from 2022, which would make IPL a 10-team competition. The modalities will be finalized by the IPL Governing Council, after which tenders will be floated for the 2 new teams.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.